All right, folks, buckle up because
Right.
today's deep dive is a wild one. We're talking about the book, How to Destroy a Man. Now, yeah, it's called Damn for short, and let me tell you, it is not subtle.
Yeah, not exactly a self-help book for building bridges, is it?
Definitely not. This book is all about, well, exactly what the title says, and it lays out some pretty intense strategies for women to gain power by taking men down.
It's definitely a controversial one,
Hmm.
but that's what we're here for, right?
Hmm.
To unpack these ideas, see how they're put together, even if we don't agree with them.
Exactly. So let's dive right into the, what do they call it? The DEM fundamentals. The book presents these as three key allies, almost like accomplices in this whole takedown scheme.
Yeah, it's framed almost like a game, isn't it? You've got your team on your side ready to help you dismantle someone's life.
It's a little unsettling, honestly. And the first member of this so-called dream team is Allison Allegation.
And right off the bat, the book makes it clear proof is optional.
Yeah, they make this comparison like spreading a rumor that someone ate all the cookies just to show how easy it is to make a claim, whether it's true or not.
Right. The point being, anyone can allege anything. But to give those allegations real weight, you need the second ally, Mary Media.
And this isn't just about traditional news, is it?
Nope. Mary Media is any way you can get information out there, whether it's social media, gossip at the water cooler, whatever. Their point is, a whisperer doesn't do much damage. You need to amplify it.
So you're saying even the juiciest gossip is useless unless people actually hear it.
Exactly. And the more shocking, the better, right? We're all hardwired to pay attention to drama and scandal. The book knows that. The media knows that.
It's like that old saying, if it bleeds, it leads, right? Can't look away from a train wreck.
Sadly, I think there's some truth to that. And the book argues that even for news outlets that try to be unbiased, that hunger for a big story can sometimes mean sacrificing accuracy.
So you've got these potentially damaging allegations, you've got the media ready to amplify them, but something's missing, right? Enter Arthur Authority, the third member of the team.
Right, because accusations and bad press can only go so far. To really destroy someone, according to this book, you need someone with real power to act on those allegations. And that's where Arthur comes in. The judges, the HR departments, anyone who can actually hand down consequences.
Okay, so let me get this straight. The book is basically saying that if a woman can manipulate these three allies, the allegations, the media, and people in positions of authority, she can basically take down anyone, no matter how powerful. That's a lot to think about.
It really is. And it gets even more specific. The book goes on to lay out two main methods for using these fundamentals to damn a man
Yeah.
online and in the workplace. But before we get into those, what's your gut reaction to this whole allies idea? Does it feel realistic to you, or is it more about tapping into our fears?
Honestly, I think it's a little of both. On the one hand, it's terrifying to think someone could weaponize these things against someone else. But on the other hand, we've seen these kinds of scandals play out in real life, haven't we? So maybe there is something to this idea that these allies can be manipulated.
And I think that's what makes this book so fascinating and so disturbing to analyze. It takes these very real fears about reputation, about power, about getting caught in the crosshairs, and it turns them into a weapon. So are you ready to see this dream team in action?
I gotta say, I'm a little nervous, to be honest. But yeah, let's see how this damn online thing works.
It's pretty intense. The book tells this story about a guy, let's call him Sam Mann. Okay, so Sam, he's doing well for himself, successful business consultant, got those big clients, life's good. Then one morning, bam, his phone's blowing up.
Uh-oh, I don't like the sound of that. What happened?
It gets worse. Turns out his biggest client just got this email full of accusations against Sam, like serious stuff.
Yeah.
Talking about violence, substance abuse, even hinting at criminal activity.
Yikes, that's rough. But can't he just say it's not true? I mean, it's just an email, right?
Well, the email tells the client to Google it if they don't believe it. And of course, they're curious, right?
Yeah.
So they do. And that's when things really go downhill.
So instead of seeing Sam's website, all his accomplishments, they get
What?
a total smear campaign. The top search results are now all these posts on those anonymous complaint websites, you know, the ones.
Yeah, those sites are scary. I've heard it's almost impossible to get stuff taken down once it's up there.
Exactly. The book claims those sites are like the perfect weapon because they seem legit, even if the claims are totally made up.
So even if Sam is totally innocent, just having those accusations out there is enough to hurt his reputation.
100%. The client starts thinking, what if this is true? What kind of risk am I taking by working with this guy? Next thing you know, Sam's lost his biggest client.
Wow. And I bet that's just the tip of the iceberg, right?
You got it. It becomes a domino effect. One client gets spooked, then another. Before you know it, Sam's career is in free fall. But it's not just about posting any random accusation online, is it? Doesn't the book actually give instructions on how to make these attacks more effective?
It does. It's pretty detailed, actually. Like, it stresses how important it is to make the allegations really specific. Names, dates, even photos if you can swing it.
So you're creating this whole narrative, not just throwing random dirt around.
Right. And it's not just about the content, it's about how you get it out there. Remember how that email said Google it? Well, the book actually calls out Google specifically.
Yeah, what do they say about it?
They claim Google's algorithm can be manipulated. You know how it prioritizes certain search results? Well, they say the juicier the scandal, the higher it's going to rank.
Yeah.
Because those are the stories people click on, right?
So it's not just about getting the dirt out there, it's about making sure it's the first thing people see.
Exactly. And because it's all online, it's practically impossible to trace back to the source. That makes it even harder for the guy to defend himself.
So you've successfully destroyed someone's reputation online. But this book doesn't stop there, does it? There's also damn at work, right?
Unfortunately, yes. The book basically says the same playbook can work in the workplace, just with a slightly different approach.
All right, well, let's shift gears then and talk about how this whole thing is supposed to play out at the office.
So they set up this scenario with a new employee, Kathy Click, they call her.
Mm-hmm.
She's ambitious, wants to move up the ladder, but then she runs into Eric Introvert, this brilliant engineer. He's kind of a classic introvert, keeps to himself, not that social.
Uh-oh, I can already see this going south. Sounds like an easy target.
That's exactly what the book suggests. They portray Kathy as seeing Eric as an obstacle in her path. He's in her way, and she's not afraid to use any means necessary to get rid of him.
Okay, so does she just go straight to HR with some made-up story?
Not quite. The book says subtlety is key here. It's all about what they call a slow burn smear campaign.
Okay, how does that work?
So Kathy starts by making these little comments about Eric to her coworkers, but she frames it in a way that plays on those sensitive workplace issues everyone's worried about.
So instead of saying Eric's a jerk, she'd say something like, he made me uncomfortable in that meeting.
Exactly. She's taking those little everyday interactions, maybe he just made an awkward joke or something, and twisting them into something bigger, making it sound like he's creating a hostile work environment.
And because she's been so careful to build relationships with everyone, by the time she goes to HR, they already have this negative image of Eric in their heads.
Bingo. And, HR, they're often under a lot of pressure to avoid lawsuits and bad press, right? So the book argues they're more likely to prioritize protecting the company than doing a thorough investigation, especially if the accusations are hard to prove one way or the other.
And that's where those damn fundamentals come back into play, right? It's Alice and allegation and Arthur authority working their magic.
Exactly. It's like a textbook example of how the book thinks these tactics can work in a real-life setting.
So whether it's online or at the office, the book is basically saying you can use the same strategy, create fear, amplify those accusations, and then let the authorities take it from there.
It's a pretty bleak outlook, isn't it?
Bleak is putting it mildly. It's like this book is a how-to guide for ruining someone's life, whether it's online or at work.
And the really unsettling part, the book actually argues that this is all a sign of progress, that women are winning by using these tactics.
Hold on, winning. That implies there's a scoreboard, like this is some kind of game.
That's exactly how the book frames it. It claims women have historically been disadvantaged, right? But now they've figured out how to use the system against itself. They call it societal judo, using the weight of those patriarchal structures against men.
So they're basically saying, all right, you want to play by these rules, we'll show you how it's really done.
Pretty much. The book claims women have become masters at leveraging societal expectations, the ones that often portray them as more vulnerable or easily believable as victims.
And it's not just about individuals getting revenge, right? They're talking about a larger trend, pointing to those high-profile cases where men were ousted from powerful positions based solely on accusations, even if those accusations were later disproven.
Exactly. They argue that the fear of bad press, especially in the age of social media, has made institutions, and especially the men who run them, extremely risk-averse.
So it's like this perfect storm. On the one hand, it's incredibly easy to make and spread accusations online. And on the other hand, institutions are terrified of getting caught up in a scandal, so they're quick to throw people under the bus.
And in that kind of environment, even a hint of wrongdoing, whether it's true or not, can be enough to destroy someone's career.
It's a pretty sobering thought, and whether you agree with the book or not, it really makes you think about how we got here.
And that's the point of a deep dive like this, isn't it? It's not about taking sides. It's about understanding how these tactics work, how they play on our fears, and how we can be more aware of these dynamics in our own lives.
Because knowledge is power, right? Whether you're a man or a woman, understanding these tactics is crucial. We need to be able to think critically, question what we see and hear, online and offline, and have these conversations with nuance and empathy.
Couldn't agree more. We can't let fear and suspicion dictate how we treat each other. It's about finding that balance between protecting ourselves and upholding those principles of fairness and due process.
It's definitely a delicate balance. And on that note, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these damn tactics? Have you encountered them in your own life? How can we, as a society, navigate this tricky landscape of power, perception, and accountability? Head over to our social media channels and let us know what you think. And until next time, stay curious, but most importantly, stay informed.